How are you?
I am tip top.
Awesome. I love it.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little nervous. I don't know why. I've seen hundreds of your videos. I've been watching you for years. I've taken your classes, so I shouldn't be this nervous. But yeah, it's you. So
Fun
awesome.
stuff, isn't it? I mean, when you get
Yes.
yourself healthy and you're feeling good, there's nothing like it. You get all the pain out of your body, you get your skin cleared up, you get everything cleared up, you get your genetics straightened around, and you got a form now that feels really, really good, and you can have fun with it. There's
Yeah.
so many suffering people that don't realize the body can regenerate itself. So that's what's so fun about it is that this world doesn't realize that the human form can totally regenerate itself from the nervous system down to the toe.
Yeah, I've seen a picture of that toe in progress. I tell everyone, like, this is off berries alone. That's just the energy
Yeah,
that it
that's
carries
it.
with it.
hmm
Yeah.
And the neurological cases, those are real important because of the vaccine injuries.
Yeah.
And then all the Lou Gehrig's and MS that's out there. Then you got spinal cord injuries all over the place, and they can all get out of their chairs. They can all fix themselves.
Yeah, that's amazing.
hmm
I had a brain injury myself, and so
Ooh.
having the berries, high berries definitely
hmm hmm
clears up everything and turns
Yeah.
everything on and you just
And brain and
gotta
nerve,
do it.
use like the herbal formula, brain and nerve, herbs for the brain and nervous systems. You add that, and you get your lymphatic system moving, you get your kidneys filtering, and you totally can rebuild not only where you were, but the genetic memories of those cells can be erased and pulling it back to its original blueprint, going beyond what you came here with from your mom and dad, and really start getting into levels that hard to describe to regular humans because they don't realize what life would be in a body that has total endurance, doesn't get tired, doesn't hurt on them, things like this.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk to you about detoxification, obviously, but when people are giving up to, I have clients and you prep them for the detox symptoms and you tell them what to expect, and there's so much fear, and I've had trouble keeping clients because they believe they're having allergic reactions, so they get so much, afraid, and they're thinking that 2 weeks is going to be all that they need. So I know it takes years. I've been doing this for 6 years and I'm still not there. But it's hard to relay that to people who are looking for, I just want to feel good now. So what would you say to that? Like what is a quick detox? Is there even such a thing as a quick detox?
I up at the university up here, we used to teach our classes up at this. That's a medium-sized university up the road here, and they had a big health expo there, and they had a booth that says "Detox in 1 week." If you think you can rebuild the human body and you can clean out miles of congestion and mucus and acids in 1 week, you're delusional. You're going to sit in for 6 months to a year, and it. The thing is, you realize that, and important for you because you're the healer. You're the way shower. You have done this on yourself. You've went to classes. You've learned. You get it. And so if you have clients or patients that don't, you cannot get upset. Next is my phantom word because you get yourself emotionally involved with people. You want them to understand what you're saying because it's so simple that even a child could understand it. But like you said, the AMA has used the fear word. And I turn it around and say, if you fear anything, you fear the AMA because most people that work with the AMA have very serious problems from
Yeah.
vaccine injuries all the way to deaths from surgeries, all the way to chemotherapy, which kills 95% of the people that take it.
Yeah. Those numbers are crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, sad, sick.
Yeah, in this world we're trusting the experts and
Yeah.
I
But
feel like with
you
all
are
the
now
information. What was that?
I want you to realize now you're being the expert. You're the one that can take somebody, whether they listen to you or not, you know that you can take someone from Hellville to Wellville. And that is everything. You get these very narcissistic medical doctors and you see all this stuff. Keep in mind, they can't cure anything unless they know the lymphatic system. And I have a few medical doctors that we've taught, and they are curing lymphodemas and all the cancers, but there's only a few.
Yeah.
Most of them are subscribed to this idiotic idea of diseases and the germ theory, and they can't get outside of that. So they're lost in a world that has no remedy to it. There's no cure. And everybody has to live in fear that hopefully this disease didn't land in your world, and suddenly you're stuck and you're going to die. That's all crazy stuff.
Definitely is all crazy stuff. So I have some questions here, so I stay on topic. But
Okay.
I have a juice bar here in St. Pete, and I do kava and kratom, just to sort of marry the two worlds. So I get people that come in here and they look at the literature, your posters of watch your urine. I have all that stuff up here. So people will walk in and not know anything about this, and then they'll walk out wanting to change their diet, or they'll come back to see me and ask about the herbs. So a question I get a lot is about supplements, but not just the normal, multivitamin supplements. These people are asking about Shilajit, which is heavy in fulvic acid, zeolites, which help to break down,
Right.
So sea moss, Irish sea moss, purple sea moss has a lot of minerals, digestive enzymes. So I know we're trying to do things naturally because that's the best, strongest way to have your body respond and do these things. So you don't need the supplements. But what is your take on when our soil is so heavily depleted and bankrupt in minerals? Should we need things that give us those, I don't know, digestive enzymes, for instance?
Yeah. That I grew up with that kind of thinking somewhere within my 50 years, and they got into isolates and orthomolecular supplementation and crap like that. And the simplicity of nutrition is hard to explain to people because we've been brainwashed with proteins, brainwashed with minerals, brainwashed with this idea of some type of nutrition. And so we're brainwashed with this and digestive enzymes. So I'll start with digestive enzymes and then I'll work my way back.
Okay.
Digestive enzymes act very much like a steroid and hormone. If you take it, your body quits making it. And I've had the worst cases of pancreatic cancer you've ever seen. I've had it to where they ate an apple, it came out an apple. So, I mean, I've had some seriously bad cases of pancreatic cancer and pulled them right out of that with no digestive enzymes. Now, food comes with its own enzymatic action. There is matter of fact, we're doing a fruitarian book right now, and we're working with a group of scientists that have written a book on comparative anatomy of all the vertebrae. And this is for veterinarianism and stuff, but we're showing the differences. And one of the things they brought out is you have enzymatic action from so many sources. Your mouth, your bowel wall, even your stomach when you're dealing in an acid. The foods come with their own digestive enzymes. You have certain co-vitamins that are produced that actually ignite or become like an enzyme. So you have so much of that if you take it, your body will quit making it. There's no reason to take digestive enzymes. You've got to watch how you combine your foods. Food combination is vital. And understand that most vertebrates eat their foods in a mono setting. In other words, they eat one food at a time. I saw one orangutan, she got two different fruits, set them in front of her, sat down and started eating them. Oh, but that's the only animal that I've ever seen cross outside of a mono consumption. So when you're getting into those, there's not enough time to even begin to talk about the reasons for all this. But certainly, digestive enzymes are not the way. No supplementation. I'm a biochemist as well. And I work with reams and all types of biochemistry theories throughout my world. And you can't do anything. If you want a homeostasis of chemistry, you have to consume it. You cannot, you say, oh, I'm deficient in calcium, right? Well, you can't say that until you fix the parathyroid gland. And then once the parathyroid gland, you have to make sure the pituitary isn't influencing it before you can say, I need calcium supplements. Because here's the gig. If you take calcium supplements, you'll stone yourself up like a rock. Most people are very acidic. And when
Wow.
you take calcium, even though an electrolyte, an alkali, it will pull and leach phosphorus. And you will end up losing your bone the same way, but you don't have the mineral, the hormone to drive it, to use it, to make bone matrix, and you'll end up becoming a rock in you. Seen it over and over and over again. It's like vitamin C. So many people are doing a vitamin C intravenously with cancer
Mm,
treatments, right?
yeah.
And they're getting extreme hardening of the arteries for it because what is the name for vitamin C? Ascorbic what?
Ascorbic
Oh,
acid.
acid. Again, another acid. It was Linus Pauling, a medical doctor who thought maybe that an acid is healthy for you. For some reason, medical doctors think acids are healthy for you, and they're the very side of chemistry that's destroying our tissues.
Yeah. Is that can you talk about how the parathormone
Yeah.
helps to the body
Okay. So
utilizing calcium?
with all chemistry, there's a thing called utilization or metabolism. Your adrenal gland sitting on top of your kidneys produces 23 mineralocortical steroids that are essential in the utilization of, say, iron, zinc, selenium, and all these. If you supplement that, that's idiotic because your body can't metabolize them. You have to fix the gland that deals with metabolism before you can utilize it properly. Calcium, however, comes to the parathyroids. And if your parathyroids are down, either from pituitary or genetically of themselves, you're not going to utilize calcium. So, one, depression, big time, postpartum, majorly, bones, connective tissue, your skin sags, your bowels sag, uterus starts to fall out, all kinds of things like this. That is parathyroid, and that can be fixed very easily, and then the body rebuild itself. So there's a lot to looking at the world of health, but when you supplement, that's like medical thinking. We don't know what the problem is, but since we're just looking at a microscope and we're looking at the effect of something, we have no idea what the cause is because we're using the effect from a point of view without understanding the cause. So when you look at the effect of something and then try to ask yourself what the cause of it is, that's rough. You can't find it. But when you understand the pillars of science, there's only two sides of chemistry, and
Right.
physics is real easy to understand. For every reaction, there's an opposite reaction. All these things that start to build your understanding of why and what foods that are fit for humans, why they're fit for humans, and all of that, and why man's getting sick. And it all is in chemistry. If you think what you eat, what you drink, what you breathe, and what you put on your skin has no effect on your health, you're delusional.
It's the truth. So I was wondering about sea moss because it's not an isolate, but it's apparently rich in
Yep,
trace minerals. So would that be something that is
sure.
okay
Especially
to
when
take?
you're,
Can your body utilize that?
well, especially you're dealing in radiation levels.
Oh,
Irish moss,
there we
sea
go.
moss,
This
Gall's
is
kelp.
true.
Yeah, I put in our superfood formulas, obviously I put kelp or
Yeah.
Gall's, just
Okay.
because they have high mineral content. Minerals don't make you healthy though.
Gotcha. Right. Minerals help to
Yeah.
create conductivity in our bodies. Is that right?
They're just
Like
conductivity
certain.
and they're primal. But the bottom line is your body is an electrical body. And even though it's not an astral body, it's very chemical, it's still an electrical body. All chemistry is electrical. And so that's what your body seeks is electrolytes because everything else breaks down into acids. So you end up with a proton dominant body with seeking electrons. Well, that's your fruits, berries, melons, and your vegetables. Everything else, grains, beans, dairy products, all of these, especially pasteurized, your electrons are spent. So you have an acid forming food in an acid body. So people keep eating acid forming foods and their body keeps getting more acidic, more agglomerated. And then they're having the boils, the pimples, the cysts, and then the tumors, and then necroticism. They're on their way up.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask you what you feel about diatomaceous earth because I think it goes in line with what we were just talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we use that to kill fleas.
I
You
mean,
know,
I've
you
heard
don't
it
want
has
to
a
put,
good organic source of silica. And so I was using it myself, but kind of reading
yeah,
other
right.
things. And
You know
I mean,
what
I
that
noticed my
does.
hair and nails were growing like crazy, but
Well, you can do that. Then when you stop it, what happens? You see what
yeah,
I
I
mean?
see
You
what
can
you mean. I
supplement
see
like
what you're saying.
gelatin and your fingernails get really wicked
Yeah.
and you stop taking it. And then they go back. No, 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 no. You got to fix the parathyroid. Then your fingernails will stay wicked and strong. You won't get
Yes.
ridges. They'll look like they're fake, and they'll really be good. So you have to fix. You can't force. It's like forcing muscles with proteins. All these people, all these bodybuilders, will have very serious problems. Matter of fact, Ben was up on air
I
here.
saw that. It was a great interview. Yeah.
Isn't that neat? Did you
Yeah.
see where he got?
So big. Yes.
Oh my God. He's
Yeah.
such a nice guy. And
Yeah. There's a
yeah,
lot of,
and he found us, and then now he's got health going. He's got a clinic going. I mean, this guy's down the road.
looks healthy and he can move.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
this guy can move. I've got videos of him moving, and you're just going, I mean,
Yeah.
teaching his little girl to move. This guy's amazing. I'm totally trapped by him. He's just something
You
else.
attract all the amazing people, Dr. Morse. It's all an energy
Thanks.
thing.
Well, you know why? Because we want to be healthy. We want to be the
Yeah.
best we can be, and spiritually too. We want to wake up out of this kind of a nightmare. It's kind of a warring
Zombie
planet we're on.
world. That's a great segue because I'm reading The Tiger's Fang because you mentioned it so many times and I did the Kundalini thing and all this, but that is an amazing imagery and just
Yeah.
how it talks about the different dimensions. So I'm really interested in the spiritual part of this whole thing because it's very physical. We're changing the physical self, but spiritually, it's like nothing else. You become
Who you
connected
are.
to the ether. And so the astral traveling, I know you've taught out of body and stuff like that. You don't do that anymore, but can you just tell me about your experience or how you got into it?
Well, I was very interested in out of body travels. And so I joined the Rosicrucian. Some police detective told me that the Rosicrucian teaches how to out of body astral travel. I go, oh, wow, cool. So then I joined the Rosicrucians. And then someone threw down, and it could have been The Key to Secret Worlds, or it could have been The Tiger's Fang, the first book. And when I read that, I knew, because I'd already traveled, I knew that these masters had it. These guys knew these. I've already studied the levels to cosmic consciousness, but when you get outside of that into the first world of pure awareness, because a lot of people call cosmic consciousness pure consciousness, but it's not. But the next world up, and when you leave, you're actually leaving creation. When you leave the id, and now everything becomes one. Everything becomes the same thing again, and there's levels to that of the nowness, and it's so intense that it's just hard to explain, but it's an intense sense of aloneness. When the closer you get to the Godhead, it is totally alone, and so you start to get in extreme feelings of aloneness, which is nirvanic. It's not loneliness; it's aloneness where all life is. I can't explain it. It's hard. You just have to let go of everything you know. Let go of the physical, let go of the emotional, let go of the mental. Who cares about the mind?
Yeah,
If you can
no, I
break
love that.
thought, you're working yourself home. If you can break thought, you are now working yourself to pure consciousness. Now you're moving into a pure awareness. You're now watching the worlds around you instead of thinking and participating in them. And you'll start to see that magic hand of God coming through, and your whole world is driven. You don't have to think a thing. Everything is done for you. If you need something, it's right there for you. It's amazing how that is. But
Awesome.
you become unlimited in your ability to perceive. It's amazing. Thoughts is what limits your perception of who you are and your experiences.
Yeah.
You're a victim of your thinking. It's like you're a victim of your eating. You're a victim of your chemistry. You're a victim of all of this. We're just here to help you how to fit it all together and realize that. As soon as you realize that, you're free.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've done some meditation and I've found the I am where your ego is like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
this is not
not
me. This
it.
has been created by my experiences. And then you have the other side of you, and it's like you almost realize you're God and the devil in one. It's very strange. You have two little things here, but I've never experienced outside of that. Like that was the I am, and it was only during meditation. So when I wake up, everything goes back to the same. But so you're
Powerful.
saying there's other levels outside of
Yeah,
that.
the
Is
I
that
am
would that
is
be called cosmic consciousness, or your?
the I am is just above cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness is the universal mind. And Holmes, I keep talking about Holmes, but he wrote volumes about the universal mind. The universal
Interesting.
mind, when you get out of the mind that we know of duality and the Akashic records, then you're in pure mind. Every individual mind comes out of the mind. And this is just the worlds of pure energetic mind. I can't even describe it. It's pure thought. It's not, the thinking comes into causal, but this is just the powerhouse of creation. And outside of that, you're at
Yeah,
the I am, and then you're at the you are it.
you are.
You know what? The I
Wow.
am is that real thin line that separates me and you. And
Yeah.
that's so thin at that level that it's you don't perceive it. We see each other as one, even at the I am level, but you still see yourself separate. The thin line. Once you go past that, boom, you move right in, and me and you and all of us merge and become
So
one
exciting.
consciousness.
I love it. Like it makes
Oh,
life just so novel and just so exciting, to play
but then you
around and
understand the
experience
levels,
these
like you say.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, growing
Oh,
up as a
enjoy the
Jehovah's
tigers.
Witness, I was always told not to do these things. I was so afraid of meditating, like
Yeah.
turning off the light, I'm inviting demons and stuff. But
You were a Jehovah Witness.
I mean, kind of.
That's amazing.
My mom was, yeah.
Was she? That's an amazing jump spiritually
Yeah.
from a Jehovah's Witness
Yeah.
to where you are now. It is
Yeah.
amazing. And it showed you weren't part of that thinking whatsoever. As an individual coming into this planet, you were already a higher being. And maybe that's
Right.
what people around you needed to see too.
Yeah, definitely led me to ask questions, and like always seek and always be wondering about origins and all this stuff. But yeah, that I've read the Bible front to back a couple times and asked all these Jehovah's Witness about these certain things, and it just did not sit right with me. And I knew, when something is
Sure.
true or not. You have that discernment.
Well,
But
because you're from there. I mean, you're from the divine. You're the divine
yes,
individualized, and so
yes.
of course you know it all. And it's
Mm,
just that, but at a level that's not in the physical world. The physical world just takes your beauty and just goes, just crams it in this little body. If it
yeah.
wasn't for the nervous system being so good, the human nervous system is so good that it
Yeah.
keeps you in it. You have to just get yourself totally relaxed and move your attention away from your physical body to get out of it. And that's all you're doing is moving your
So
attention
true.
and realizing that you're not limited by a physical shell, that you can move your attention anywhere you go and you're going to follow your attention. Now, that's also the secret of waking up. You're going to follow your attention. So the question is, who's the one looking?
Well,
Who's the attention? It's like I was telling you, I was out of body travel. I taught it for years, right? Travel, it's infectious, right? And then I had that voice. I don't know where I was going through the ethers. I don't know where I was going. And this voice came rolling right through me. Who's the traveler? You want to travel, but who's the traveler? And that just woke me right up. I'm going, holy crap, here I'm chasing rainbows
yeah.
and I'm actually looking for who is the divine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of, I got gifted a bunch of Dr. Christopher lectures on tapes.
Oh,
So I've
yeah.
been listening to him over and over again. I love his voice and his demeanor. Um, I don't know. Someone told me that you were a student of his. I know
No, I
that
just
might
knew
not
it.
be true. So I just wanted to know, how do you guys differ and what do you take from him? And like, yeah, if you could just talk
I'll put
about.
it this way. I love the old man, because
Me
we
too.
all struggled. When you hear his story, my story, Dr. Jensen's story, Jensen was 25 years before me. So, I mean, his stories are amazing of the struggles because, like in my case, I've been, the states tried to throw me in jail 3 times. So, I mean, and some people have. Richard Schultz, I think, made it to jail. I can't remember, but that's the sort of thing. This is such a controlled, negative world that truth doesn't want to get out. I mean, they don't want the truth, but it's coming. It's coming because I brought a lot of souls with me, and there's a lot of things going on. It's not just on this planet either, by the way. There's a lot going on at the physical realm level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exciting stuff.
so then is there anything from Dr. Christopher that you
Okay, so
guys
Dr. Chris,
don't agree on, or
I
he's a lot
okay,
into the
so I've
herbs?
been playing with botanicals for over 50 years. I had
Yeah.
health food stores, and I had 300, 400 herbs in that. I mean, I really have gotten and taught botanical classes, and then I made botanical formulas for how long? So I think that Christopher was great in the time, but we've learned a lot more about botanicals and how we
Okay.
can really go. I don't like his formulas that well. And I tell Richard Schultz, you're just a copycat. You have a brain far greater. You should have made better formulas, but his formulas were just Dr. Christopher's formulas. But when you look at them and you understand botanicals, you can see, how he grew up through that, but also how much more we can put together and make much more powerful formulas. And
Okay.
unfortunately, when you sell your formulas, sometimes the manufacturers can't keep up with the qualities. So he unfortunately sold to Nature's Way. Now his son just got it back, but he sold to Nature's Way, and Nature's Way called me when I started God's Herbs, and they wanted to make my herbs. I said, "Well, what's your distillation time?" 7 days. I said, "What's your percentages?" 7 to 1. I go, "You're crazy. You're crazy. We're 30 days, at least 3 weeks to 30 days. We're 4 to 1, and we make powerful formulas. And I do it all together. I just don't pour each herb that I want into one. I they're all brewed and made together. So
Oh,
sort of
wow. That's really important because they have like a
very.
synergistic effect with each
Thank
other,
you.
right?
Very important. But a
Yeah.
lot of the herbalists just pour, they'll have each individual herb already macerated, but then they just pour how much percentage you want in that. It's like, no. So I've done a lot of things to make these herbs very powerful. 1 to 4, nobody makes 1 to 4 concentrates out there that sells them and works with them. You got many herbs, 1 to 1 to 1 to 2, but they're $50, $60 for 1 ounce. And after a while, you can take that essence and lose some of it. And I think when you get away from 1 to 4, that's as strong as you can actually. I'll use the word distill, but it macerate. It's the only level that you can do it once. Outside of that, you have to reconstitute it, reshoot it, and everything else to get to 1 to 1 to 1 to 2. Because after 1 to 4, it's thick, gooey.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because now I always knew your stuff was superior, but I just
Strong.
didn't realize that whole distillation process and
Mm-hmm.
the
Real
ratios
strong.
and even individually pouring stuff versus having
Yeah.
it all meld
Yeah.
together. So
But going
that's
back to
awesome.
supplements and things, you're better off to eat holistically and let your body find its own homeostasis. So if
Okay.
you want homeostasis of minerals, keep in mind your body is a food processor. You have digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. You fix those 4 things, and there's no such thing as deficiencies. You have to fix these 4 things, or you're always given supplements and chasing rainbows. And I have been 50 years in my practice, and I can tell you, supplements don't get nothing. You get on herbs specific for tissue and the lymphatic system, understand the lymphatic system and your kidney connection, and you've just saved your life.
Okay, so that brings me to my next thing then, because I can ditch I mean, I don't do supplements anyways. But I feel like I also don't eat the rainbow and I'm not, I know animals mono eat and like I try and keep stuff super simple. So I'll do watermelon, or just apples. So, but I'm not deficient. So I just want to know from you, like, if
It
someone's not eating all different colored fruit and stuff and they're just
doesn't matter.
being simple, like won't their body
Yeah.
keep them in shape and
Well,
stuff?
that toe you saw was just on grapes predominantly.
Oh,
But I it's far better to get everything you can out of one food than when you mix a whole bunch. I used to teach the rainbow diet,
Yeah.
and but as I was eating them, the more spiritual you get, the more sensitive to energy you are. And each particular vegetable or fruit has its own state of consciousness. And when you get too many together and you're sensitive to that, you can feel that. It can
Mhm.
make you confused a little bit. I'm serious. This has real high energetic, far reaching effects.
Right.
So if you look at what I've done neurologically and also muscularly and everywhere else, I've only done it on one food, and that's a fruit, well, fruit and berries and melons. And we've only used the herbs to help incite or fix cells, help enhance their function, or help to move the lymph system or the blood better. That's all we do is work on your cells or your blood and lymph. That's it.
Okay.
And then of course your diet. We live in a world where we think of deficiencies. Okay, so let's look at the word deficiency for a minute. There's two things that spell deficiency. What are they? First of all, you have to absorb your nutrition, right? Well, let's go back. If you don't digest your foods, you're done right there, right? It's like you have a horse at the Kentucky Derby, the gates open, everybody takes off, and your horse falls right there. If you don't digest your foods, you're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first part of bad nutrition. Second part, what you broke down now, you have to absorb. Why are so many people malabsorbed? 99% of people are malabsorbed at one level or another. You have to understand what, yeah, you have to understand your GI tract. You have to understand the types of foods, agglomeration, what acid ash foods are, and what it does to the fenestrated cells on your GI tract wall, which are cells that allow for absorption in the villi. And so malabsorption is a huge problem. Well, okay, so let's assume that you digested, you absorbed. What's your next step? You have to be able to utilize your nutrition. All right, let's look at all the stages of utilization. Hormones and steroids. All right, adrenal glands, parathyroid gland, absolutely. You need those hormones and steroids for the utilization of it, or you just got a free radical in your body.
Wow.
You can't take calcium in your body. Calcium is not wise enough from a spiritual viewpoint to know what to do. It has to have a higher level of guidance, which is the hormones and steroids. So when you look at it from a spiritual view, you can look at it a little differently because minerals are pretty low in their levels of consciousness. That's why when you see them in food, minerals are really more tissue salts. The plants actually move minerals around and combine them and make them more into salts.
Okay.
So it's a lot more than just mundane chemistry that we're looking at. You know, mundane elements like minerals and stuff. They're all connected together in plants. The body does reconnect some of them, but you need the presence of hormones and steroids or covitamins or digestive enzymes, that sort of thing, in that process. So you've got to have all those working before you can say, I'm deficient and I need to take something. Because whatever you take has to go through that whole process of digestion, absorption, utilization. And then you got to make sure you're eliminating the acids from the metabolism and the Krebs cycles and all of that. All those are acid spins. You got to get rid of them. Or
Yeah.
you see the word inflammation,
Yeah.
swelling, all
Yeah.
of that comes in.
Totally. Okay, next question, Dr. Morris. People are really afraid of detox because they're going to lose a lot of weight, and they're like, I've worked so hard to keep my weight on, and I tell them alfalfa, I tell them about your awesome
Yep.
muscles by nature, created because of Mr. Olympia. But that's all I know, and I don't have a huge bag of tools to be like, oh, take this, and I know you're gonna break down tissue, and I've seen Ted Carr, but yeah, I'm
Yeah,
asking the
there isn't anything that you can take
okay.
logically to keep their weight up. I
Okay.
mean, you can, but you're compromising their body to do it. And you're right. I tell these people, your car is going into the body shop. And yeah, before your body is going to rebuild itself, but it does rebuild it during it. But before you can see the complete picture, you're probably going to lose weight. And that is directly related to guess what? How malabsorbed are you? This
Oh,
isn't about,
wow.
we have people that have been on, when I was 100%, I was totally a fruitarian. I was just on oranges. I was a mono eater for 3 years. I couldn't break 156. I couldn't get less than that. I couldn't, my body, no matter if I fasted on water, I stayed at 156. Couldn't break it. So once you get that, if you're going to one of those people that get real skinny, you just ride the ride because you got to understand what's going on in you. Once you get your kidneys filtering, you get all this plaque off your bowel walls. You open up these cells on the bowel wall. You start absorbing. Now you see weight starting to come on you. I remember years ago, this mother brought her daughter in, about 15, really skinny little girl, and her mother said, "My daughter has a lot of fungus in her, and I want you to help me get rid of it." I said, "Okay, no problem." I said, "But your daughter has another serious problem." And her mother kind of looked at me like, "What?" And I said, "Look how thin she is." And boy, this girl just took off crying and bawling. And she said, "Yeah, everybody calls me anorexic and everything else, but I eat everything." I said, "I know, because you're malabsorbed."
Oh, wow.
She is now a model in New York City, and I totally cleaned her up, and she gained just the right weight. And you've got to have
That's
faith.
amazing. Yeah.
It is.
I love hearing that, when people just trust it and go for it and they learn for themselves. That's the best way to do it.
Okay, so here's another good one. It just shows you about detoxification. So this
Yeah.
girl, my first patient ever, I just got my degrees. First patient came into my office, female, young female from New York City, just came back from an ashram in the Bahamas, read about it, and went down for a 3-week fruit and fasting intensive, right? So she walked into my office and she's telling me the story, and she says, "Look, all my fingernails fell off."
Ooh.
I said, "Your fingernails fell off?" And she said, "Yeah, I did all this fasting and fruit." And I said, "All right, so you went from New York City, a typical New York City
Wow.
diet, right down and went right into fruit and right into fasting, right?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, that's why." I said, "You never had strong fingernails, did you? They're a little bendy and a little." She said, "Yeah, they were little." I said, "That's why. When you go deep, your body gets rid of its weaknesses fast. If you want to go slower, okay, keep your nails and we can rebuild them and make them strong. But if you're diving in, you might lose some things a little bit, but your body doesn't lose itself. It gets rid of the weak to replace it with the strong, just like nature does. If you're a mother bird in nature and one of your little babies is sickly, it will not make it in the nest. It'll be kicked out of the nest, and there's no emotion to it. Nature can't afford to procreate its weaknesses. Man didn't think that, so man has done nothing but procreate its weaknesses. So now what
Yeah.
we have is our children are in serious genetic trouble.
So talking about fasting, there's dry fasting, there's water fasting, there's juice fasting. There's so many different types. Dry fasting, though, I've heard is the fastest way to filter the kidneys, but there's also been a couple people who have died and like take it overboard. So
That's
I
what I heard.
never I never recommend that. I'll recommend water fasting to people who have cleaned out substantially or been on fruits for a while. But I have this one friend who doesn't eat a good diet, standard American diet, drinks alcohol. And he went into a ex-military, so super disciplined, but he went into a water fast 30 days, didn't release any sediment. He
Oh wow.
plowed right through it. He didn't have a lot of saliva. And but he didn't have any detox symptoms. So like when stuff like that happens, I don't know what to tell him because I told him he should have been hydrated more. Go into the water. But what do you
You hit
think?
it right on the head. You
Yeah.
hit it right on the head because you said it earlier about his saliva. He's dried out. He's way too
Yeah.
acidic.
That's
So
what
yeah, he didn't see a lot of because his body's too busy trying to hydrate, and you can't hydrate just on water. So people have to realize that's why these emaciated cases that you get them energetic, get them moving, get the kidneys filtering, and then water fast them if you want for a day or two. This dry fasting thing, I never did dry fasting in my life, never recommended it, never really thought about it until one of our students brought it up.
yeah.
And I'm going, okay, well, I could see 24 hours, 36, but Hildy was doing 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember this guy that his parachute didn't open. And
Yeah.
of course, he hit the water at about 80, 85 mile an hour. Well, I rebuilt him. He was a quad. I rebuilt him. He's normal as anybody else, but he did a 12-day dry fast. I go, are you crazy? and he showed me his urine. And I'm going to tell you that was the nastiest. It looked like a septic tank.
That's crazy.
But 12 days without anything, I don't buy. But I'd already fixed him up and hydrated him. So, you got to be wise sometimes.
Ooh, it's a good question, and I don't know how to answer it, but I've read books where people have gotten their third set of teeth, and like I know if the body if was to live as long as we're meant to live thousands of years or whatever, yeah, we might get extra
Yeah.
teeth. And so
Mhm.
teeth is a huge concern going to all fruits because I guess it loosens the bone and if it's weak, especially with the lymphatic system. But how do we keep our teeth really well?
Okay, so you've got to use pH papers and check your mouth and make sure your saliva is alkaline. Most people
Okay.
have acid saliva, their gums are receding, they get these abscesses and all this crap like that. And that's all lymphatic stuff. So yeah, when the body starts cleaning itself, teeth can get a little loose, and it's only because you're moving out. You know, when you get full of mucus, it expands your tissues and stuff in the body. And so when you start cleaning it out, you can feel some changes like that. It's true in the sinuses and then the brain as well. So it's just that sort of thing. But you want to make sure, and that's why we look at the parathyroid, we look at other things in the body because you want to strengthen your parathyroid if you notice you have teeth problems. But you want to make sure your saliva is always alkaline or you're on the road to losing your teeth.
So I just wanted to ask a little bit okay, so for me personally, I I started this and I didn't know about you till 3 years into it, but I was also doing it a little bit wrong. I was doing sprouted nuts and I was doing a lot of veggies. But I had symptoms. It was very slow. And then when I started learning about you and I got on the herbs, things started to speed up. I
Yeah,
had lymphatic drainage here, had
good.
warts come out of my body again. I was able to smell and all my senses heightened. But
That's fun.
what I'm trying to say is when I never paid attention to my urine or stool, so I don't know if I had that dump, whatever that they call it. Um, but I do know when I got on the herbs, I dropped parasites too, a lot of them. So that was
Wow.
interesting. But I notice if I eat cooked food, the next day my urine is really sediment and like, cloudy and all that stuff. So is that typical? Like, would that mean my kidneys are filtering and like, because
Yeah, I've
it's
heard that
trash?
before.
Yeah.
I've heard people that are on the fruit, they don't seem to filter. And then when they eat
Yes.
something bad, they filter. I just think that that's just part of because there's another thing about detox. When you get deep into it early on, you're breaking up miles of stagnation. You're hydrating at a level you probably don't understand. And just to show you, I show this a lot. This is the
Oh, I
lymphatic
love
system,
that.
just the finger,
Yes.
right?
Is
So
that going
you
to be
can
in your
imagine,
book?
huh?
Is that going to be in your book?
Oh yeah, this you're going to see a lot. This is going to be a pro textbook. Going to be a lot of anatomy and physiology on this. Pat's
Awesome.
going to handle that side of that, and we're just going to really dig in and show you so much of the facts, but we're also going to show you clinicals and everything else that relate to that. It's not just going to be because we have um, uh, 10 million year old science that
Mm.
shows that the Homo sapien is a frugivore and that his GI tract and everything else has not adapted or changed to his omnivorish ways. So that's pretty good. We got
Wow.
some good anthropologists involved. We got several studies that I think that are very good, particularly with the brain size and everything up with the Homo sapien. But it's hard to deny the human is not a fruit eater. Uh, yeah, can we all do it? No, probably not. You have to have a very high level of awareness,
Yeah.
self-discipline, of course. And I couldn't do it. But if
Yeah.
you're in trouble, you can use it to get your form better and then balance out.
I love the finger. You showed it once, and then after that, I'm trying to talk to people, showing them like, you don't get it. Like lymphatic vessels are like a matrix in us. So I tried looking for the picture, and there's no maps of the lymphatic system
None.
online. Like it's crazy. So
It's crazy. And
yeah,
the body's exhibit doesn't
yeah,
show it. body's exhibit from China
Yeah.
that travels around. It has the vascular system all hung up, but
Mm.
it doesn't have anything lymphatic. And you know, this is,
It's
but
so
that's not in
interesting.
their world.
Is that because I think I heard you mention when you're working on cadavers, it has to be a live body for the lymphatic system to show up? Isn't
So the
that
University of
amazing?
Virginia found the lymph system in the brain on rats. Finland, then the next year, 2015, found the lymph system in human brains. They had to use advanced microscopes, and it couldn't be on a cadaver because they're so
Wow.
viscous and clear that they almost disappear in cadavers. Isn't that amazing? And
Interesting.
then
Yeah.
some piggyback the blood vessels. So my first thought is either either through osmosis or diffusion, is the lymph pulling the acids out of the blood vessels because your blood can't get acidic. If your blood is acidic, you're dead in about 3 minutes. So your body has all kinds of ways to clean the blood to try to keep it away from being acidic. But we keep eating foods that are acid forming. So no matter about bicarbonate or not, bicarbonate can't change a nitrogen substance into an alkali. Sorry. So that's where they go wrong. So when you have an acid forming food, that's what's absorbed, if you absorbed into your blood. Well, now your blood's going, whoa, wait a minute. I can't be at this pH or this entity won't be alive. So what do I got to do? And you can see it in everyone that's like this. I got to steal calcium out of the connective tissue so to keep my blood at a level that's not going to kill the entity, right? So what do
Yeah.
you see? Bruising easy, varicose veins, spider veins, all the things you see when you lose connective tissue.
Crazy. Um, what was I gonna say? So there's a lot of things here. Okay, so life after detox, right? Because this is something that it's a I mean, some people want to be on fruits their whole life, and that's awesome. I know there's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of temptations everywhere. But for a typical person who's looking just to feel better, do you what do you suggest? I know I've heard you talk about 80-20 diet.
Yeah.
Um, but I
You can
mean, should we really be putting this crap in our bodies? Like, shouldn't we just
all I can say is if you can do 80% raw and 20% cooked vegetables,
yeah,
you're going to do real good. If you want to eat real bad, then you only want to do that once in a blue moon.
gotcha.
But your diet should always be fruit in the morning. You know, when you think about it, you spend the night fasting. So our old way we used to describe it is the breakfast is breaking the fast from the night before. You never break a fast with anything but fruit juice or fruits. So, excuse me, I recommend breakfast being a big bowl of fruit
Yeah, me
or a
too.
big glass of fresh squeezed navel orange juice. You can find it real sweet or whatever you like, right? Lunchtime, if you want to, get a big salad. If you want the rainbow, do the rainbow, but get a big, nice salad. I would say less on the greens and more on your green vegetable or your veggie vegetables. And then for supper, try to eat light again. And you'll go to bed. You'll, if you're a traveler, you'll out of body travel easier. If your body's knocking on your door because you have heavy dead animals in it or whatever in it, yeah, your dreams are about like that.
Okay. So we were talking about vegetables. I was listening to an audiobook, The Mucusless Diet, Arnold Ehret, and
Mm.
he talks about, and I know he's older, school, so things have changed, but he talks about asparagus and sweet potato, and I think broccoli as being almost mucus free when they're cooked the right way to sort. So yes, that opens me to my next question about the transition diet. Do you recommend who do you recommend the transition to, and then what would the time frame be? Or do you just tell
You
everyone
know, I
100% fruits?
Yeah, I'm
Just like,
not, I've never been the type of physician to tell people what and how much to eat and all that, because we don't count calories when you understand obstructions to the flow of energy.
yeah.
And I've always let that be an individual case because my thyroid is probably about basic. So at my age, I have a little fruit in the morning, maybe a salad, maybe I'll have some coleslaw or something for lunch, and then at night I'll have some more fruit. I don't eat a lot,
Mm.
period. I don't need to eat because I have more energy and I know what to do with it. But my body doesn't need food. It just, I get energy from other sources. So when you get pretty cleaned out, you don't need a lot of food to eat. You don't sit down and eat the same meals you used to eat because you don't need that. And when you're eating high energy food, which your fruits and berries are the highest magnetic energy of any food on the planet. When
Okay.
you start, and you mentioned it early on, when you start eating fruit, your energy level goes right on up. And you fix your adrenal glands and neurotransmitters on your autonomic, and you're buzzing. You're really buzzing, you know. So
Yeah.
you just have to take it at where your level of consciousness is. And then I've been with a woman for 43 years, and she's had her times of raw, but she's not a raw foodist. So
That'll be hard.
I used to think years ago, I used to think, oh, I don't need to have a raw food woman. I'm just saying as a male, right? And a spiritual woman because I'm pretty solid in myself. I'll eat it no matter what they do or not.
Yeah.
No, you spend all the years with someone, you guys merge in so many ways, and it's influences,
Well,
and it's really, really hard. And then everybody wants to go out and eat, and there's no place in a you're going to order
I
fruit
know it's such a
meal at a
social
restaurant.
thing. Yeah.
You see what you get.
Yeah.
It's an insult to fruit. So yeah,
Can't
it's
find
tough.
fruit at restaurants. It's
I,
crazy.
it's
Yeah,
rough.
no, it's so true. We don't go out to eat.
No,
There's salt and who
but you
knows what
do
kind
the
of
best
water
you
they're
can, honey.
using.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do the best you can, and you're doing fantastic. You're doing unbelievable. Proud of you totally. I love a juice
Okay.
bar. I wanted to have one by our office here because we had the room, but we didn't. And I had the lady. She was totally into juices heavily, but we ended up selling the company and everything else during that time,
Yeah.
and we never manifested. But juice bars and stuff like that ought to be everywhere.
Oh yeah. I've done some traveling and I've Costa Rica and Hawaii, and it's like I
Ooh,
brought here what I wanted to see, what I wanted to see. Like there's nowhere doing all organic, there's nowhere doing a slow masticating juice. And yeah, so it's like 10 p.m. Where are you gonna go? You can find a juice here. So
find a juice
so
bar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm happy to
Let
be
me say
doing
one
it.
thing about cruciferous is because
Yeah.
they're rough on the human body. And if you do have sulfur in you, they're going to be even rougher. So all your broccoli, cauliflower, even the nightshades, your tomatoes, potatoes, these are not the healthiest of foods. And I remember there was a health food restaurant opened up, and most of their foods were cruciferous, cabbages and all kinds of things. They
Mm.
ended up going out of business.
Oh wow.
So certain foods are rough on the body. So you have to be careful with those sort of foods. Fruits and berries and melons, they're the most powerful. We proved they rebuild the nervous system. And
Right.
then with Yale's latest study that the brain converts glucose into fructose, that just laid the gold road to fruit to rebuild man's nervous system. And of course, we've proved it. So right
Yeah.
there you go. No argument to it.
Exactly. Once you start mentioning the universities, people want to hold on to that. But
Yeah, I
what
know.
was I gonna
You can
say?
always find a study. And of course, Yale, well, it was Stanford and Harvard, great old Harvard, right? Both of them are caught changing their study results.
I'm not
Harvard got
surprised.
caught changing their study results, and so
Oh my
did
God.
Stanford. What the heck is that?
I wish more people knew that stuff, like they do straight up hide stuff. I just finished reading The Secret Life of Plants, which is
Oh,
like one of my favorite books
yeah,
now. Like
Christopher
that's an
Bird.
amazing book. And it just talks about these people find how good natural things are, for agriculture, and it gets put on the shelves. It gets really,
Man,
demonized and they hide it outright. So
man, what a good book, though. Secret Life of Plants. I read that
yeah,
40 years ago, it seemed like.
yeah.
There's just some good books out there that have made the market that really gets into things. And I thought they really got
Yeah.
into the electromagnetic energies and
Yeah.
things that were really good with that.
Oh
We're going to
yeah.
also show you Kirlian photography. We're going to show you things that
That's so
show
cool.
you the electromagnetic energies of things. Oh, yeah, I'm excited about all this stuff because we're going to do it up right.
So am I. And I'm so happy that we have someone like you to just have the resources and the energy to put this all together. And
I'm happy
yeah.
to have people like you because,
Oh,
I felt alone in the woods for so many years. And now all of you beautiful beings are out there and helping all these people, and people are getting well, and we're proving our point. So we're changing the consciousness on this rock. And I'm excited about
I'm
in all
excited
ways.
too. Yeah.
Spiritually, too, we're giving an easy way to reach nirvana, easy way to reach God consciousness, as opposed to, as you mentioned earlier, playing with the Kundalinis, playing with the lower worlds, blah, 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 blah. Start from the crown and go on. Learn the secrets. You don't have to sit there and play the games. Learn the
No,
secrets of how you wake
exactly.
up.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
talking about electromagnetic energy, just touching on how we're so polluted. Like we have no idea what life is like without all these
Yeah.
energies and, electrical upgrades, 5G, all this radiation all
Oh,
the time,
good.
constantly. And so it's such an important time to detox. If we can take care of that, then this might not
Yeah.
harm us. But yeah, just
I
crazy
knew
things.
I knew a lady, her name was Anik, and she was a Venusian. And she used to travel around and do shows. She knew of the Eckmasters, and he was talking about why we can't see them and why the pHs or the temperatures are the way they are. And she was talking about, think of AM, FM, all these channels. We have all these frequencies with life on them, don't we? Same thing with TV channels. We have life on all these frequencies. Creation is the same way. Every frequency is full of life and activity. I mean, there's
Wow.
so much beings and life and everything everywhere,
Yeah.
and frequencies that you can't see. And she's talking about her planet and everything else. Well, I actually had a Venusian society contact me way back when and talking about the Venusians and coming to this planet for years, trying to help man to grow spiritually. So there's so
Wow.
many things out there that are so cool.
Yeah. I've never heard that before. So
Mhm.
gave me something else to look into.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
Um,
Frequencies. That's why
yeah.
the more you think, the less you know. The more you observe, the more you know.
Yes. Yes. In the silence and the void.
Yeah, get
Very
out of the way.
interesting. Yeah.
Get out of the way and just start watching and see what you can see. Start listening. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't, they keep listening on the outer. What about the inner worlds? That's where all life is on the inner. You know that old saying, you used to go in to get out?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, so I just wanted to ask you about nitrogen. Protein is nitrogen based. When you look at the periodic table of elements,
Yeah.
it's a little bit, it's hotter than carbon, which is what we are, carbon beings. So would that be like the acid side of the table?
You could say that nitrogen is kind of like the glue,
Okay.
but uh, it is an acid side, even though they claim it's everywhere in the atmosphere, nitrogen. But when you look at nitrogen foods, you're looking at acid-based foods. You're looking at more protein-based foods. And so nitrogen is a dominant gas for sure.
Okay.
But then you have oxygen. All this chemistry is kept into balance because look at water for an example: two atoms of hydrogen and one of oxygen. So and it's been considered in chemistry called the universal solvent. But when you talk to most chemists, they consider it neutral.
Right.
Yet it has two atoms of hydrogen and one of oxygen. Now, hydrogen is the universal acid. It's in everything almost. So you got hydrogen as the acid. So you have two atoms of that, but you only have one atom of oxygen, which is your alkali, but which is more bioactive. See, so it's just
Hmm.
there's so much to everything, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you can have fun playing the chemistry game. I love chemistry and having fun with it, but keep it simple, or you'll
Yeah.
confuse yourself like crazy. And there's only two sides to all of life. And that's funny. In creation, there's only two
Gotta
sides
say
too.
it.
I know, isn't that funny?
You
And
gotta
yet you
say
can
your
have
famous
endless
lines,
forms.
Dr. Morse.
Huh?
So you gotta say your famous lines, Dr. Morse. There's only two sides of chemistry.
Yeah, only two sides of chemistry. and
Yeah.
only cells and two fluids in the human body.
Yes.
I had a chiropractor interview me the other day, and he said, "Damn, he's retired now." And he said, cells and only two fluids and only two sides of chemistry. He says, I get it. He said, I can't believe it. But that's how simple it is, you know.
Yeah.
And when you look at your body as a food processor, you're simply processing. So life takes chemistry in its mundaneness, if you want, or in its fluidity, and it creates form out of it. We only need the energy out of that form. We can't use the form. So that's why we have digestion. So we break down that chemistry that was isolated now into form. Now we take the form, we break the form down, but that original chemistry now has been changed into salts and other combinations of chemistry, giving it a more powerful punch. And then, of course, you have to have your simple sugars. Without simple sugar, you're a dead duck physically. And
Yeah, I
people
love
don't
how you
realize
put
that when they
that.
say sugar, they freak out. It's like, no, no, no. Your simple sugar is your power. You got ribose, fructose. You got a lot of simple sugars that's essential to the running of the human body. So this idea that sugars are bad for you, what? That's ATP, ADP, AMP. You can't live without ATP, guys. Energy for your cells. But that's a carbon side. That's the fungal side. That's the alkali side. And then you have the bacterium, acid, corrosive, let me rip your cells apart side.
That is life. Acid,
That's
base.
life. Exactly.
You
Birth,
need
life, and death.
food.
You know, we come
Yeah.
here touch and go. I used to be a pilot. We had touch and go, you know, and this, I always call this a touch and go planet.
Wow. You did a lot of things. You used to be a pilot. I know you
Yeah,
had
I've
some
done a
health
lot
food
of things.
stores.
Been a rock and
Um,
roller,
I've
had a
heard
rock
a
and
little
roll
bit of
band.
your story, but I was, going through questions and they were like, well, ask him how he got into it. And I think I know, but I know you probably
Yeah, I
mentioned
was
this a lot, but
always been spiritual. All of you
always
that
been
get into this
spiritual.
have been spiritual, you know, and
Yeah.
you're just coming into that. You're not accepting suffering. Some of the things that you're told, you're not buying into it.
Mm,
And so that's a mark of a higher being. Because when you look at this, all life is on different levels. As much as in the states that they're going to equity crap and all this stuff, you can never have that because all life is always at different levels. And you have beings coming in here constantly that are higher or new ones that have never. I've talked to beings that have never ever been to this planet before and just got here. Now those sort of beings, you're not gonna you're not gonna spiritualize them. They're gonna have some fun for a while. I talked to one that just got here, and this entity took a female body and became a hooker. Seriously, and it's just and it told me. I had a long conversation with it. Said, I'm going to play everything I can do. I said, I get it.
yeah.
But there's the opposite. There's many souls or beings that have been here too long, long enough, time to check out. And those are you guys that have been here helping others. And then your rewards and all of that is that you get to go. And the farthest you can get yourself free now in this lifetime, the more you're going to, when you step out of this form, you're going to have pure God consciousness right there. If not, you're going to just be reincarnating, you know, keep following the old thought patterns, create you because you have to always pay for what you create. There's no free ride.
So then that's interesting because I've told people I'm not I don't think I'm coming back because I've had those experiences and it's like I
Mhm.
know now. I know what it is and I it's just interesting. So
Yep.
how do you choose to come back? Like you have to come I feel like when you meet God, when you know what that is, you're kind of done here. But then I hear that you can come back to well be a
Let me
soul
tell you,
traveler for someone else on the journey, right?
yeah, every one of us has our helpers, and everyone as soon as you translate out of here, if they call it karma, right? Whatever you want to call it, it simply means that you created things you haven't paid for yet. Until you do, depends what that is to where you're going. You could take a trip to the astral plane, not take on another physical body for a while, and then take on a physical body back. There's a lot of different ways that happens. The average individual has not
Wow.
grown much,
Amazing.
so there's almost immediate reincarnation within 3 days here. So that's just,
Gosh.
people are just not spiritually advanced on this planet enough. And that's why we're here, to try to bring this thing up out of the sewer, because the allopath is just the number one killer. People don't not realize this, but medical community is the number one killer of humans on the planet, above wars, above car accidents. They're the number one killer of humans. And ask yourself why anybody would, or why anybody would allow someone to put a 1.5 to 2 pH acid in your veins. And I've got a new chart just to show people what that is. And that's five, it's depending on the pH, it's somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million times hotter acidically than blood.
Such a shame. It's so sad,
Oh, it's criminal. It's insane. It's like bizarre that we're dying from acids, and yet they're putting an acid in that's at a 1.5 to 2. Most cancer cells come out of a 3 pH acid.
Okay.
So 3 pH, that's your lactic acids, your uric acids,
Wow.
your carbonic acid thing. Most of them are around 3. 2, probably 275, 2.8, 3. That's where you get a mutated cancer cell or a atypical cell. They're giving you an acid that's 15 times hotter than that.
Oh my gosh, that's
And that's
horrible.
like, why? And one medical doctor just told a client of Jessica over here, it's just cleaning you.
Hmm.
Acids that clean you are up at around 6, not 1.5. Those will destroy you. Put anything you want, hamburger, tissue, anything you don't want, put in a 1.5 solution. You're right there at muriatic acid, which is 1, and just see what happens. It's not a pretty sight.
No.
And that's what's going on inside the body.
Huh. I mean, I hear these things and it makes me just so agitated what's going on
Oh,
worldwide.
it's
And I just
horrible.
feel like,
Yeah, I know.
we're
Me too.
we're at the
Yeah,
climax of that age
yeah,
of Aquarius, so the resistance is
yeah,
really high. Um, but I don't get it. Like what's
yeah.
what's it gonna take
Well,
for they've taken so much away from us, and what is it gonna take for us all to
we're in major
resume?
negative times. The teeter
Yeah.
totter is coming. We're in major negative times, but we have to meet that with truth and honesty, integrity, and meet
Mm,
that, and not let that negative force come in, because
yeah.
I don't identify with either one, positive or negative. When you do, you're in creation.
Mm,
Excuse me, I'm sorry. You can't win the game with your mind. Excuse me. Excuse me, with your mind. You can't win this game with your mind. There's always someone more powerful in their mind than you are. You can only win it when you're totally conscious. And you have power you have no idea you have.
yeah, I
Amazing.
wish we all knew that,
Yeah, I
but
know. I know.
little
But
by
it's a
little.
good thing we don't, too,
Yeah.
because some people would hurt people. It's just
Yeah.
the way it is. You got people that hurt people already. Unbelievable.
Because they're all eating meat.
Yeah.
Just
Excuse me.
kidding. But
Well, you know what I love about all you guys is that your heart's in the right place. You're very spiritual. You are developing your awareness beyond these worlds. Of course, you're not going to come back. You're already reading uh, uh, Tiger's Fang,
Tiger's
and
Fang.
you're pulling the masters to you just reading it. These guys are unbelievable. I've studied a lot of masters, a lot of yoga people, and all this stuff. When I got hooked to the Eck Master, they literally grabbed me out of my body and said, "Okay, let's go." I mean, literally, these guys are
That's
unbelievable. But they
cool.
don't mess around. They don't mess around. It's like very serious-minded beings, but very powerful. I mean, Fubi Quants is the one you want to try to connect with. And Fubi Quants used to play with me so bad. I'd be giving a lecture, and I'd have 100 people, and he would pop right here beside me, and start talking to me.
Oh
I'm
wow.
going, and I'm talking, and he's here talking to me, and I'm trying to, right? And he's teaching me to step back and don't be thinking what your talk is going to be. Allow the divine to talk through you. And he was pulling me out of that. And it's like, oh God. But at the time, it was like, oh shit, what am I doing? And it's just, that's how they are.
So did you do anything to attract that, or just you wanting to seek it found you. Yeah.
You're the one that makes the call.
So interesting.
You're
I
the
don't
one that
know.
makes the call. We're
Yeah.
all here waiting. You're the one that makes the call.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of neat things going on. And, I'm excited. We have a lot of people doing this with us, and a lot of people like yourself that's helping people with juice bars and
Yeah.
healing centers and stuff like this because there's so many people suffering. I mean, we keep a napkin thing on our desk because we're always crying here.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
oh God, one
Yeah.
sad case after another after another. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
And like we're all empathic. We're all here to help. And you've got these wretched cases where they've been to one lady the other day with 33 medical doctors. And
Mm.
not one of them could help her. And now they got her so backed up, we have to slowly unwind her and get her back to a
Yeah.
state of health again.
Yeah. Well, it is a shame when I've I have one client that actually carried through and she feels great and all and she's doing it her own way, which is fine, slowly. But other than that, most people can't do it. They look for shortcuts and then they're like, "Oh, it's not working." So it's really discouraging, but what you mentioned about the spiritual part of it, it's not for everyone. The
It's not.
self-discipline is such a quality that does set
It is.
someone spiritual apart from just the
And these
average
these young
bear.
kids are not raised with discipline. And
Yeah.
if you're not raised with discipline, you don't have self-discipline. And that's part of
Mhm.
the problems that we're seeing with the younger people not being raised with discipline. They don't know what discipline is. I've got a yard maintenance guy that's like that right now. He's 19. He was raised with a meth mom and a meth dad, and so I mean it's just really bad. He has there's no what would you say? There's no grounding mechanisms. There's no bumper guards in terms of what you do or don't do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying in life and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So he doesn't have any, and yet he's his own boss. I made him his own boss around my place. And so he's got to now work himself on his own because he's the man. It stops here. There's nowhere else. And I'm
Yeah.
teaching him he's the one. You're the one. No matter how you were raised, you're the one where everything stops. And every action that you put out there, you're going to get it back. So
Yeah.
just remember that. If you don't like what you're experiencing, look at yourself and see what you're putting out there. Because if you put out
So
love
true.
and compassion and camaraderie, that's what you're going to get back. But
Mm.
if you put out alienation and we're better than you or this and that, you're going to get that back.
Yeah.
So it's just
Very
a rough
true.
planet to be on right now, and especially for those like yourself that have the big hearts. But you know what? All these beings are worth it.
Yeah. So true.
Mhm. Because that's
Yeah.
your sucker. What else you going to be doing? You can only fly so many planes, ride in so many boats, ski so
Yes.
much, play with the tools or the things of this planet. Then, I've always said you can take a child and put him in a Toys R Us, great, huge department store of toys. And in about a few weeks, he's going to be not, or she's going to be knocking on the door. I'm done. I'm ready to go out. What's out here?
Exactly.
Exactly. It's like horses or cows. They're always eating on the other side of the fence. They have their head always through the fence because the grass is always greener on the other side of
Yeah.
the fence.
Yeah. I don't know when I got fed up with it all, I from my car accident, my brain injury and all, I was young. I was 17. I'm 39 now, but I got some money and I just went traveling and I lived it up and I did all this partying and then yeah, it becomes everything gets so empty and there's a void and deciding that I'm here to be in service to others has brought me, I don't know, it just opens everything up and I do feel like that's a human thing that we are here to be in service to others, but a lot of us don't know that and they don't know that. Like Dr. Christopher would say, you haven't truly lived until you received that genuine thank you from somebody. So,
Yeah,
so that's why I'm here. I
I
know that's
love
all
that
I'm
old
here for.
man. Jensen
Yeah.
was the same way, though.
Yeah.
Bernard Jensen, he was very spiritual,
Yeah.
and that's what really connected me and him first. We just liked each other's spirituality, and
Yeah.
so that was it. Was I mean, these guys are great beings, some of them, and
Yes.
they're just out there to help man in every way. But remember, you're on a negative, kind of a negative slide a little bit here. And so that's kind of always going to be hitting you. But you know what? We're all grabbing our power back. I don't care what they say anymore. Who cares? We know who we are. We know what we can do with the human form. We know we can rebuild someone in a wheelchair. We know what we can do. So what? So they can say anything they want, but we now have the evidence, the proof. We have thousands of healing people around the world, and there's nowhere they can take this anymore. I'm sorry, and I'm not going to allow them anymore get away with this. This is crazy. It's enough. Enough negative, enough hurting people, enough, enough, enough. And now let's look at what true healing is all about and how you rebuild these poor souls that are suffering instead of just giving them medication of live in a wheelchair all their lives. No.
I know. And I know you've talked about curing autism and
Oh
children
yeah,
and these people who
those
are
are
looking
easy.
at their parents again, and like that is such an amazing thing, like
Those are easy though.
yeah,
Some of these cases are really bad though. Some I feel sorry for the ladies in particular because
yeah.
for some reason they have so many problems here, and the tumors we see here are just. I mean, they're because they haven't waited so long to hear from us, and by the time they get to us and hear about us, their tumors are the tumor itself is twice the size of their breast. So it's like when you get things like that
Yeah.
and you get the body so hardened from acidosis, it's going to take you a while to rewind that. And some don't. So I'll give you an example. Of 100 people that go into chemotherapy, about 6 to 10 nowadays walk out, maybe 12 walk out of it. And in 5 years, half of those are dead.
Oh,
So
wow.
out of 100 people, 6 to 10 walk out alive. That means 90 of them died from chemo.
Mm.
And then out of 5 years time span, half of those are dead or more. So when you look at us, we have the opposite. We have at least 95% cure rate, 90 to 95%. And we probably lose 5 to 10% because they're just poor souls are just too advanced time for them to check out and go get a new body. Forget it. Go on.
Yeah, those are amazing numbers. I tell everyone that, it's
Yeah.
either they
I mean, it's
couldn't
scary,
do
isn't
it
it?
or they're too far along. But
Yeah.
other than that, like these people are healing themselves
You're still
naturally.
breathing. We're still
Yeah.
going to work on you.
So you mentioned those because when I went to one of your tapings, your photo book was there, and I saw how black
Yeah.
salve, it was just a little bit of black salve was put on that tumor, and the skin healed up like you can't even, you'd have to show someone the picture to really describe like
Yeah.
how amazing it was. So those pictures and like your testimonial section on your website, drmorse.tv, um, which I love and I tell everyone about it. Um, but I don't see those pictures in your testimonials. And will
You know
you be
what?
putting those up or will you be adding
We are
more?
going to put them up. I
Okay.
I've been a little cautious because people that put up testimonials, they've been closing them down, and so I'm not. We're going to do it anyway. So that's yeah. So um,
Okay.
well, something I wanted to touch on you, and I'm glad you saw the pictures there because
Yeah.
it really drives home how bad it can get,
Oh,
but
yeah.
also how we can pull you out of that. But what was
Yeah.
it'll
That's why I
come to
was
me in a minute.
really trying to look at your testimonial section. And it's nothing on you, but there's not much there. So I was hoping maybe because I heard of you talk years ago before you had this website about having footage of these things. And I know I saw the news report where the X-ray showed the spinal cord putting itself back together. But I'm just wondering if you'll put more of that stuff on your website.
Yeah, I tell you the it's like a nursing home. They recorded a couple cases. It and then his wife died. So right now I'm trying to get all that footage because it is amazing. And that one you see a little bit of the footage, but this was a Lou Gehrig's case, highly advanced. She was modeled, of course. She was a singer, but she couldn't sing or talk anymore.
Oh,
Feet were modeled and all that, right? Chaired. So 5.5 months we have her talking, singing, pushing, standing up, pushing her stroller,
yeah.
And that's that one, but we all have very limited footage of that one. Kind of,
Yeah, I saw that one, and I know it must have been an
yeah.
amazing case, but
Well, the
you know,
one was
there
amazing
wasn't
was the
good
kid.
footage of it. So I think
Yeah,
that's,
I
yeah,
know that
it's
was.
a
We're
hurdle.
working on it. Working
Yeah.
on it. But we have, again, people can reach out to all the Facebook sites and all that. But I want to tell you a case that
Yes. It's
I was
true.
just told about from one of you guys, and she was just like you. She didn't have a juice bar, but she had a little thinner clinic.
Yeah.
Female mastectomy, all on fruit, herbs, all that. You've seen mastectomies, all that scar tissue gone.
Oh, no way.
No,
That's
she's
awesome.
getting her nipples are growing back.
That's
I
so
went,
cool.
whoa, this is not for me. This is one of our students.
Wow. Just
I
shows
mean,
you how
that even freaked me out because I've seen all kinds of tissue grow back, but
that's
never
awesome.
seen on a breast that's been removed. I've seen the
That's
body eat up. We know
crazy.
it eats up scar tissue and adhesions. We know that. But to regrow a nipple right there, I mean, I'm just, that's unreal. And I'm asking
That's
all my
awesome.
students and all the people, make your videos, testimonials. People want to hear them. You see me out there begging them, get them
I
up
know.
on because people want
I
to hear
know.
your stories, how you did it,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, I'm working on my eyes, so I took pictures. They've cleared up a little bit, but I was born with blue eyes and they're hazel. But
Uh-oh.
they've gotten a
That's
little bit lighter, so I'm making sure I can document that. But other than that, like I said, I found you 3 years into it and I didn't even know what to look for. So
oh wow.
maybe a lot of people do that too, and they're like, "Oh,
What
kind
now?
of."
What's around the pupil? Do you have sulfur around the pupil or is that brown?
I have sulfur. I have
Yeah.
a lot of transverse colon
Yeah.
stagnation.
Oh
I have
wow. So
nerve
that's a
rings. I have
oh
nerve
wow.
rings.
You got
Yeah,
nerve rings
I do.
if
So
your
I'm
adrenal
like,
glands.
how long does this take?
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
haven't been consistent 100% fruit, and
Yeah.
I'm still
Well, I
working
tell you,
on it.
Dr. Jensen claimed he could get rid of nerve rings. I didn't want to disagree with him, but I've been also in clinical practice long enough to know what you can do and can't do with the human forms. Because
Mm,
I take you way out there. I'm an Arnold Ehret type thinker.
mm,
When he got rid of stuttering through the detox, and I'd been, of course, a fruitarian when I was reading him. I proved that you could cut yourself, not bleed, no
yeah.
pain, and be gone the next day. That's what I knew I could cure anything. When I saw what my body went through and that I lost all ability to bleed, to
Wow.
have pain, I mean, I can't even describe to you. And Eric talks about the same thing. He
Yeah.
offered this experiment up to the AMA. He said, I'll show you on a fruit diet, then add vegetables. Let me show you what happens when you add vegetables. Then, as you go down toward the meat, you'll see more pain, more bleeding, more festering, that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, hello.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah,
It's just
amazing.
really, yeah, energy.
So if
It's
the
all
medical team
energy.
doesn't want to listen to that's okay, fine with me. We're the ones. We're the healers of the century, and we're going to show them how to do it.
Yes, we are. We're leading by example. So that's
Mm-hmm.
my main
You did a
thing.
great job, sweetie. Real
Well,
proud of
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm glad that, I found you, and I don't even know what led me down this way. I guess I was, after my car accident, they put me in a neck brace because I broke my neck. And so my back was just
Ooh, wow.
atrophied. And I went through my whole 20s not taking care of myself and eating the worst food in America, and had 3 kids that I had to run after. And I just
Oh,
turned 33 and
God.
I was like, this
Poor
is it.
mom.
Like, I was
You
230
kids.
pounds and I was like, I can't, I don't want to live like this anymore. Like, something has to change. And I found yoga. I knew yoga would help my posture somewhat. So I did that 7 days. And then I had a friend down in Colorado Springs. I was living in Colorado at the time. She's a raw food nutritionist. She comes from the school of Ann Wigmore and
Oh, yeah.
Hippocrates. So she's big into that. But she told me, as soon as you heat your food above, 115 or whatever it is, you kill all the enzymes, all the water is evaporated, the
Soils.
minerals, the vitamins. When she told me that, it was like a light switch. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'll never cook food again. So from there, that's when I started. I was hardcore raw, but doing the veggies and stuff too. But yeah, it changed everything so much. For years I had, like I said, I had I could hear the fluid crunching in my
Mm.
ears, and you go to ENTs, it put you on antibiotics, and I was like, all right, guess I'll live with this forever. But yeah, doing that detox and feeling like a waterfall run through my body, and all of a sudden was able to smell and hear better. I'm like, wow, this is
Isn't that
really
amazing?
cool, really amazing. Yeah,
And regeneration of the spine. And I've done so many quads and paras through the
that's
years. Like I
yeah,
say, even the guy that's parachute didn't know, but I still talk about him a lot because
yeah,
when you
same
hit the
here.
ground at 80 mile an hour, well, he hit the water at 80 mile an hour or so and broke him up pretty bad. And in good case, we totally rebuilt him. You couldn't tell it. He's totally normal. And
That's
it's
so
just
cool.
neat to see that well, why couldn't the body rebuild itself? You're in the worlds
Exactly.
of duality. Where you have the negative, you have the positive. Where you have the decay, you have the rebuilding. So, hello, it's just because some groups don't understand what the rebuilding side is and they're living on the negative side, that is introduced to them the true positive side and how you can
Yeah,
rebuild tissue. And you don't have to have all this money spent on supplements or pharmaceuticals or things like that.
yeah,
If you want to have some extra nutrition, then a superfood complex or something like that. But again, you got to be able to digest, absorb, utilize, and eliminate. And when you do that, you need very little food because you just suck the energy out of it like a vampire and you're ready to go. And since you're not blocking it with thoughts, you're not blocking energy with emotions, you're not blocking energy with mucus and proteins, things like that in the human body. Whoa, you're going down the road, baby.
yeah. You mentioned thoughts, and like I was just thinking that, like that was probably the main thing that got me to do this, was telling myself, I don't care how long it takes. Like if I do it day by day, it should work. And it's just telling our not having that instant gratification, and just being patient with ourselves, and knowing if you're doing what is right, why not? Why can't I be like that too? And
You're a
so
smart woman. You're, women like you are like I call them warrior women because you handled three children.
yeah.
You broke the spell of creation. So now you're reading how I can expand and get myself out of here and become awake again. Everything is right in your world, and just keep going with that because your world just keep getting better and better. You're letting everything go. You know the fruit diet. You got pretty much have all that down. Botanicals, you're using them. Herbs are for body parts. They're not for diseases. No such thing. But you got herbs for the liver, herbs for the heart, herbs for the bowels, herbs for the lymphatic system, herbs for the blood, herbs for the nervous system. So you play with that. They help to enhance cells, which are considered structure function. And so, by all means, you want to have your structure function up
Yeah.
to maximum, because we don't know what maximum really is on this. Because,
I
after you
know.
get so much energy, I had to step down from it, or I couldn't stay on this planet. I was out of my body. I couldn't sleep. I mean, it was just,
Yeah, I
you're
felt like
always
that
in
too
growth.
when I was like liquid airing, if you want to call it, for a year and a half. I didn't need food. I barely needed food. But I would drink these juices, and I would have so much energy. I would have to go to the gym just to burn it off, and it was embarrassing because people would pass by and be like, "Damn, she's a beast," and me trying to be like undercover and stuff, like couldn't hide it. Like I had so much energy, and I felt like I was living outside of my body, and
You're a
but that's
good
the
reader.
power of just
Yeah,
real foods, and the electromagnetic energy in them. So try and tell everyone, but it's only, through experience that people will know.
have to come up
But
and
yeah.
visit your juice bar sometime. I don't get up to
Nice.
St. Pete very often at all. I was up at
Yeah.
Clearwater. Brian Adams had a big concert there a few years ago, and he made me come up there. But
Made you.
yeah, I don't go out much. The
Yeah, I get
traffic
it.
down here and all of this sort of stuff, and you get too many people, and I'm a recluse. So because I've
Yeah,
got
it's nice
four
in Port
books going.
Charlotte.
I can't help it.
I love
I got
it.
four books going right now at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm working on. I got guys back over there typing and everything. I got four things going at the same time, and
Wow.
so it's just crazy.
Yes,
But
it's the
the
best.
information's vital. You've got to understand when we say lymphatic system, don't go in an A&P book because they don't know what it is. Go to our site, and learn about the lymphatic system. We have one of the top A&P professors to teach it. And so really exciting when you learn about the lymphatic system, because now you got an aha moment. Now you understand what's causing everybody suffering, and you're empowered to fix it. Oh, you mean I can fix my disease? Absolutely. And it's not a disease, and let me introduce you to the real world of chemistry. Only two sides. Your children can learn it. And they are.
Children do know, yeah.
They do
My
know.
children go to the store and they read the ingredients, and people are like, wow, not even I read the ingredients. I'm like, gotta
You're
do
a good
it.
woman, honey. You're a good
But
woman. That's how you
thank
raise your
you.
kids. You raise them with awareness. I'm telling you, I
Yeah.
really admire you. You really do good.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, the kids they're their own. I feel like they're higher spirits. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
they're
came
a
through
lot
a higher
more.
spirit, mom.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
they keep me grounded for sure, but
Well,
yeah, I
that might be
homeschool, so
why.
I try and teach the other kids in the homeschool
Yeah.
groups, the same thing.
Damn, honey.
And there's a
You're a
few
heck
of
of a
us
woman.
who do the herbs and do the fruit, so it's getting out
Introduce
there.
these little beings to all the truths.
Yeah.
Like a Montessori. Take Montessori education and go way on up with it into more
Yeah.
of a spiritual, even though Montessori is a little spiritual, but still going on up into that world and teaching them about how to use the mind and thoughts, but also how to stop thinking. If you can train the stuff they can bring out, the
I
stuff they
mean,
can tell you. Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Been fun, honey.
love it. I know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Super happy that you
Anytime.
spent this time with me, and
Oh, anytime.
yeah.
Anytime. You've impressed me a lot. I This world needs so badly people like yourself that's helping people and helping people both physically and spiritually, because you
Mm,
got both sides. And a lot of people, the spiritually, they don't even know what that means and things like that. And all I can say, it means becoming awake again. And an
mm,
average person don't realize that they're sleeping. They're following a rainbow of
Very.
thoughts and desires. And if you look at all the spiritual giants, their whole gig, including Jesus, Saint Germain, Buddha, the whole thing was the desireless state,
Mhm.
realizing that if you don't care anymore, you will see and know things that you can't believe beyond this world. It's because you care and your attention is locked into your desires that you're a victim of your own desires. Break that, and it's like eating fruit. You free your awareness, and now you can see things you couldn't see before because you were too busy thinking and desiring.
Yeah. It's so
Mm-hmm.
true. And I
Yeah,
realize when you let go, things
that's it.
come to you. And it's like,
Exactly.
okay, I see how this works. I'm just gonna let it happen,
But
and
you're the most powerful when you're the one.
mm,
That's your protection, because it's not like you disappear, you
right.
become the one. So it's amazing stuff.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to thank you for putting such a great bibliography and resources in the back of your detox miracle source book.
Oh, thanks.
Because if I'm ever looking for something to read, I have a huge list
No
of
one's ever
books
said
that I
that to
can
me. Yeah,
really.
I wrote that book so many years ago, and it could be rebuilt. I'm into videos now, and we're doing these four. We actually got to have 6 or 7 books out, V books. So they're video books first, and
Mhm.
that way you can sit and listen to us talking to you, and talking about. We'll have also PowerPoints where we'll have the charts, we'll have the pictures of the fingers and everybody else, and the maps of the body and the lymphatic system and stuff like that. So it's as detailed as there's any. I've never seen a lymphatic book even close to this level. So I think it's going to be exciting for all of you.
Do you have any time frame that you think it might be
By
ready?
Christmas, I'm hoping.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
because we're doing the
That's awesome.
fruitarian book first. Anthony, uh, well, Andrew Kaufman, he's
Mhm.
high up in the vaccine thing. He's a big medical doctor and stuff.
Okay.
And he was for the vaccine at first, and then he realized what was in it and everything. So he's been fighting. And so he's got taken down off of sites like we have and everything. Well, he invited me
Of
to
course.
interview me. And I thought, okay, this is on vaccines. And I know Dr. Ted Penny, and we're going to really get into it. No, no. He was having a what food is a natural food of man weekend. So he's having uh, um, Hippocrates represented, probably Gerson, probably some other people, because he was into fruitarian thinking.
Okay.
And that's unbelievable to see a medical doctor as a fruitarian thinker.
Yeah.
So I want to get with him and see if he'll do the forward on that one. But uh, exciting stuff when you start seeing a lot of people opening up to these higher levels of thinking. And he
Yeah.
got me excited, and I'm going to do the book on it finally. But it goes back 10, like I said, 10 million years. Looks at teeth, looks at gut tissue. We're going to show you gut tissue of all the vertebrae. I've got it almost done, but it's a fairly in-depth book, so it'll be fun. But it'll give you guys a lot of good information and resource, like you said.
Yeah, the resources are important. I was going to ask about your school that you're putting together, and you're going to offer a naturopathy degree, which I know a lot of the alumni are really looking forward to that. And I understand there's obstacles in finding the right professors who think along the same terms and whatnot. Is there a time frame for that, or is that sort of taking a back seat? Because I
That's
know
a
you're
good
doing
question.
these books.
I'm working on a couple of people out there. Uh,
Okay.
I know Catherine from Fox Farms, and she's the essential.
So
She's
the
the
flower
flower
essence. Yeah, flower
flower
essence.
essences. This lady is so sweet. I mean, talk about down to earth, and talk about living off the grid type of person.
Wow.
But I'm trying to get her convinced just to do me a she's got a weekend seminar she did, but I'm trying to get her just to do me a small course on flower essences because I've used them in emergency rooms. I
Yes.
sent Moonshine Yarrow to the Oklahoma bombing. I know what these flower essences can do to you, and I love them. So I'm begging for that one. Got a chiropractor online. Got a aromatherapy lady and essential oil, really good. A couple other professors I've got lined up. Ben is going to do the fitness and health side of this.
Nice.
Uh, because naturopaths need to know a little bit about everything. I'm not
I
going to be
get
no
it.
intrusive, but you want to know about color therapy. You want to know what makes you feel good when you're sick and down and dying. What can you pull around you? Colors, music, things that are spiritual, because everything has energy to it, right?
Right.
So it's either negative or positive energy. So it's like I bring my woman flowers home every time I go to the store. Bring home your woman or man flowers, whatever. I just
Yeah. No, I like it. And I remember reading
yeah.
about the Bach flowers, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
amazing like
Yeah.
how, but it really does just emphasize what you're teaching people is that we're cleaning out energy pathways. And so the flowers are not fruit, but their consciousness is able to penetrate that and move stuff out. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, yeah, from spiritual viewpoint, all these are just states of consciousness. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like you and I think, feel pretty harmonious. So we feel good together. But when you're with someone you don't,
Hmm.
you don't, right?
Yeah.
So and that's the same with plants and everything else. If they don't feel in harmony, they pull back. And so it's amazing. But when they feel in harmony, they give themselves. Because really, when you get past the physical, right?
Hmm.
You get past the nutrition. What are we really talking about when you're consuming a fruit? What are we consuming? All right, with physical form, we
Yeah.
know what the physical form is, but what's beyond the physical form of that fruit? Because that fruit had to come through
Exactly.
the same worlds you did to get here. So that
Hmm.
that fruit has emotions to it. That piece of fruit has a mind to it, and you wouldn't think that that's a piece of fruit. That's just a bunch of chemistry.
Right.
Uh, 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 uh.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to life here than is seen through the human eyes. And you're reading a book talking about the different levels that we all have in us.
Amazing.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so amazing and fun.
I know. I just love all this
Oh
stuff.
my God.
Yeah. It makes it all worth it.
Don't it?
But
It does.
yeah.
Well,
But
thank you so much.
thank
I
you so
appreciate the
much.
interview. I
I
really do.
appreciate
And
you
if
doing
you
this.
can help anybody out there with this, I really love that. I love what you're doing. You're just right up the way here from us. And
Kinda,
so,
yeah.
yeah. I'll have to
Yeah.
figure out where you are and sometime come other because I love going over the Skyway.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Well, they just reopened it for that hurricane. I was trying to
yeah. I lived
like
here when the old
explore.
one went down.
Oh, wow.
I've been living here permanently since 68. Well, I did 2 years Air Force, so really 70 permanently. But I came to Florida since 1950. My dad built a house on the island over here on Anna Maria Island. And I've
Nice.
been coming down every year. And I actually went to elementary school for a year or two over on Anna Maria Island.
Oh,
But
really?
this Florida used to be so beautiful.
I
The
was gonna
beach is
ask
so
you
big.
what brought you to Florida, so I guess
My
you
dad
moved
built a
here.
house down here. Somehow he
Oh,
got a lot about 3 doors down from the ocean, and we
nice.
just came morning our summer vacations from school and winter.
Yeah,
And then I'm an old farm boy. You
I
get me down
know.
on the beach, I'm done. No more tractors for me.
I
I'm coming down
know.
to Florida, baby.
Because I was so you picked Florida, like you could live anywhere, and like Florida's your place then.
Well, because my dad had the house here, but I've been to Texas. I've been around the country.
Yeah.
I just like Florida the best. It's subtropical. I like the energy here. I love the white sand beaches and the blue waters. I mean, it's just nirvanic to me.
Yeah.
The first out of body experience I had was over that body of water where it was so blue. And I saw the two beings they sent with me, and I never knew I had them with me till then. And then now people are seeing them, and I didn't know. But that's the first out of body experience I had. I went up and I had these two big, beautiful, brilliant beings beside me, and I was just traveling down the beach over the water. And I looked around and it shocked me so much. I went back to my body, and it was like, oh man! But that was my first experience.
That's interesting. I have a story when I was younger, but
Mm.
me and my little brother both remember flying. We used to live in Key Biscayne in a condo, and we remember flying off the balcony and hovering over people on the beach. But we both have these set like growing up, like later, being an older adult, I asked him, like, do you remember flying? Like, were those dreams? And we both remember the same thing. So I remember
I,
talking to someone and she was like, you guys were astral traveling. So
oh,
now it makes complete sense because I would ask my dad, like, are you sure you never saw me flying? And he looks at me
isn't
like I'm
that
crazy,
funny?
but yeah,
You
it's
were
like
having out of
crazy.
body travels with your brother. That's
Yeah.
Paul Twitchell. Paul Twitchell, if you go back at his story, him and his sister played out of the body more, he said, than we were in it.
So interesting.
So you and your brother probably were
Yeah.
soaring and traveling in all kinds of places. Oh, that's too cool. That is so cool.
I definitely remember it very vividly. And I don't dream anymore. Ever since my brain injury, I don't dream. So might
Well,
have
your
a
dreams
nightmare here
turn
and
in
there, but it's yeah.
your dreams turn into lucid experiences because the more that these masters work with you, the more you stay awake when you lay your body down, the more that experience will become so real. It's shocking. It'll actually feel like
Mm,
you're going back into illusions when you're going back into your body because the closer you get to the Godhead, the more really real things seem. This world
mm.
doesn't seem so real. This world only seems real if your attention is so focused outwardly in it. But when
Yeah.
you cease to focus outwardly, this world doesn't become so real. Other worlds then become more real in your world.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad we made it through this hurricane. And you're right, Florida is awesome. I just hear a lot of people like, when I lived in Colorado, they'd be like, oh, Florida. And it's true, our produce here sucks. You would think that we'd have more organic and more awesome
That's a
stuff,
sad thing,
but we don't have good
right?
stuff.
No,
So,
that's a sad thing. People think Florida
yeah.
is the place for fruit. No, it isn't. We have
Yeah.
horrible stuff. We don't even have good
I
watermelon
know.
here.
I
But the
know.
weather is more conducive for what I like.
Me
And I
too.
like mountains. I like to go to the mountains every once in a
Me
while and get that
too.
mountain air and everything. But
I love it
I don't
all.
know. I'm too
That
busy to even think about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here. You're an hour away from me, and I
That's
go down
fun.
there and yeah.
Come down and say hi. Give me a hug sometime.
I will. I have not been to the new office, so
Yeah, it's small, but we had to
it's
grab
okay.
what we could grab.
I know.
That hurricane did wipe our butt.
Yeah.
But
I'm
you
glad
know
you're
what?
all yeah.
Florida, I was telling Ben this morning, he texted me from Australia and asked me if we're still alive. I said, you know what? Us Floridians eat hurricanes for breakfast.
Right.
Yeah, you'll notice the first thing we have, hurricane party.
Oh yeah. And post-hurricane parties
Yeah.
because we made it and we're like, yes,
Yeah.
dodge that bullet. But
Thank you, sweetheart.
thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you too. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
boy, from my heart, thanks for helping all these people. And
Oh,
you're a beautiful
thank
soul.
you.
Keep going. Have
I
some fun
will.
with the Egg Masters. Oh my God. So with that, I love you a lot.
Okay. Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. All
You
right.
too, honey. Bye
Bye.
bye now.
Bye.